Enter. Continue. Main menu. Continue. Item 1 of 6. Continue your most recently played campaign. Escape. Quit to desktop. Enter. Select. P. Settings.
Hello everyone and welcome to this accessibility demo of Gears Tactics. And I am SightlessKombat and thank you very much to Microsoft and Xbox for providing me with this pre-launch code to do videos like this. Really appreciate that. Now, as for how accessible Gears Tactics is, I can't show you the setup procedure unfortunately, just because of the way Steam works. It's not like Xbox where I could log into a guest account easily and demonstrate it like that as I did with Gears 5. But the interesting thing about Gears Tactics is that narration is actually available, though as we will see in a second it does say it's US only, even though I'm running it in the UK and I've had no problems with it at all. As to what Gears Tactics actually is, it's a turn-based, squad-based strategy game in the Gears of War universe. Very much in the vein of XCOM and things like that is what I've seen it compared to, whilst the game has been sort of running and building hype as it's been going along before launch. Let's go into the settings menu though and show this menu narration off as we go.
New game. Item 2 of 6. Start a new campaign. Escape. Quit to desktop. Enter. Select. Upload. Item 3 of 6. Choose a previous campaign to continue. B. Button. Quit to desktop. Settings. Item 4 of 6. Change the settings.
And yes, I am using a controller for those of you who might be wondering. And the narration is actually interesting in this game because it's using Windows built-in TTS functionality. So essentially SAPI on older Windows that now, actually it is SAPI on this as well. I was thinking of the narrator voices, which are actually called One Core, but this is using SAPI, which works fairly well, though unfortunately you can't adjust the speed in-game, much like in Minecraft Dungeons where you had to adjust it sort of outside of it in the Windows control panel, at least during the open beta of that game. But that's a whole other story. Let's go into settings though.
Settings. General. Item 1 of 13. B. Button back. Menu.
And this game is on PC. This is on Steam, the version I'm playing at the moment. There is a Windows Store version, but I'm playing the Steam one for this. And we have General here.
Interface. Item 2 of 13. Accessibility.
Interface
3 of 13.
accessibility.
General. Item 4
And
of 13.
another item that says General.
Textures. Environment. Post-process. Advanced. Item 8. General. Item
And
9
a
of 13.
third one.
Keyboard binding. Gamepad binding. Controller. General. Item 13.
And a
of 13.
fourth one.
B. Button
The
back.
interesting
Menu.
thing is,
X. Button reset default.
there's no actual separation between the categories here.
General.
There's
Item
no
9
sort of
13.
clarity as to what
Post environment.
category you're
Textures.
on.
General. Item 4 of
But
13.
if I go into General here,
Performance presets. Recommended. Item 1 of 11.
yeah, we can see all the performance presets.
Post-process. Item 7.
And if we go
Item 8.
into
General. Item
the
9 of
General
13.
below it,
Master volume.
we actually get the audio. So master volume, music volume,
Effects volume. 10. Dialogue volume.
effects
10.
volume.
Captioning. Full closed captioning. Item 5 of 5. Change the amount of captioning. B. Button back. General.
So
Item
let's go
9
into
of 12.
accessibility
Textures.
quickly.
General. Accessibility. Colorblind mode. None. Item 1. Captioning. Full closed captioning. Item captioning size. Small. Item 3. Motion blur. Cinematics only. Item lens flare intensity. High. Item controller vibration. On. Item 6. Let the game read to me. On. Item 7 of 7. Turn the screen narrator on or off. This feature is only supported for English. US. Dot. B. Button back. Menu button save. X.
Yeah, so as you can see, it says US only for the narration, but as I say, I'm running it in the UK. So that's an interesting oddity there. Not entirely sure where it gets the regional information from, but
Main menu.
it works, so that's useful.
Load. New. Continue. Item 1 of 6. Continue your most recently played campaign.
I always like being able to set games up myself, even if it's just start into the menus and calibrate everything before I start the game, much like the Division 2 was, though it's always better to have even more than that, as we will see shortly.
New game. Upload. Item
So
2
we're
of
going to
6.
start a new game.
Item 2 of 6. Start a new campaign. New game. Left behind. Act 1 Chapter 2. 4/24/20. 3:36 p.m. 5% intermediate difficulty. Slot 1. X. Button. Delete.
So you can see I've already started a save here.
Convoy. Act 1 Chapter 2. 4/27/20. 12:31 p.m. 5% beginner difficulty. Slot 2.
Actually,
X.
two
Button.
saves,
Delete.
one on the intermediate, one on beginner. You will see why again in a second.
Empty. Slot
So
2.
we're going to go for slot 3.
Button select. SightlessKombat. New game. Beginner. For players who are new to turn-based tactics or are mostly interested in the story. B. Button back.
Now this is the difficulty we'll go for in a second, but we will scroll down just to see the slightly ambiguous wording of the intermediate difficulty.
Intermediate. For players who like a challenge. This is the recommended difficulty for your first campaign. B. Button back.
So simultaneously, it's saying for players who like a challenge, and this is the recommended difficulty for your first campaign, which kind of a contradiction in terms, at least to me, which is why I went for intermediate first of all, and then was rather frustrated at the difficulty. So went for a new slot on beginner, as we will do now. Actually, if you're wondering what that box was at the beginning, everybody, for those of you who didn't see it and wondered why it wasn't narrated, it was actually a box saying that Thrashball Coal would be available to join my squad from Act 1, Chapter 4 onwards. I haven't actually got to that point in the game yet, but and we won't be getting there in this demo either. Don't worry, there will be no true spoilers. I will be skipping all of the cutscenes. So let's go on beginner and show just, you know, a couple of the issues that you encounter as a gamer without sight from the very beginning of the game. So that rather bassy rumbling noise is the loading sound.
Enter. Start mission.
So it says enter, start mission. Yes, this is a PC game. It's designed to be played with a keyboard and mouse. I am using a controller. And the correct button to press for a controller is menu to get into a mission. So I'm going to press menu, and then I'm going to start pressing B twice to get rid of the cutscenes as they come up. You have to do it for each cutscene that comes along. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Oh, this is our first taste of actual gameplay, almost.
Troops inbound. Drones. I see them.
Missed.
So that's promising, right? You get cues for when an enemy's missed. But not for that one. It's kind of odd. But it's...
Control the camera with, or by moving the cursor to the screen edge. Rotate the camera with D-pad left, D-pad right. Confirm. Item 1 of 1.
I was going to say it's good to see that the narration kicks in this early and this quickly. But then we see this tutorial where it says about moving the camera and the cursor. Neither of which are clearly explained in terms of, you know, what the technical difference is for gamers who might be unfamiliar with it. But I can understand that that might be a little niche in the sense of, you know, not all gamers are going to be playing without sight for this. So essentially the way this works is you do use a cursor, which is kind of a proverbial red flag for anyone who knows me and my thoughts on Destiny menus, Destiny style menus at least. But you move the camera around to see, you know, where the map is, but you can
Get into cover, Diaz.
There we go.
You forget how to fight in the motor pool? Something like that.
So essentially you can move your camera, you can rotate your camera using left and right on the D-pad, but you don't necessarily need to, at least when the way I'm playing. So that whoosh noise means that there's an extra part of the tutorial. I'm not going to necessarily try and reiterate that every time it comes up, but that little noise, so that noise there means I can't make a move.
Shot? Move your ass into cover.
And you will hear that line a fair amount if we stay on here too long. But if I press A again, that noise means I can make a move, and if I move my left stick forward, that cue means that there's objects under my cursor. What those objects are, I have no idea, because the narration doesn't tell me. So we're going to press A about here, and hopefully, if we're lucky, we can move. But this is where the first challenge really comes in the sense that without any sighted assistance at all,
Trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
you actually have no way of telling where you are, where you're meant to be going, or any of that, which is unfortunate considering Gears 5 and Gears of War 4 did so well with Fabricator ping. Now, given we don't want that dialogue to be repeating forever and ever,
Resume. Return to the mission. Game paused. Escape. Resume. Enter. Select. SightlessKombat.
I'm going to go back to the main menu.
Abort mission. Exit to main menu. Return. Abort mission. Quick. Exit to main menu. Are you sure you want to exit to main menu?
And I'm going to
New game. Item. Load. Item.
load
Choose a previous
the
campaign to continue. Load game.
save that's on
Act
Convoy,
1, Convoy. Act 1, Chapter 2.
which is the hub for the game, and I will show you what that means in a second.
But load selected campaign. The selected profile will be loaded from the last save point. Load. Item 1 of 2. Load game.
Good thing about this game is that you actually have customization as well. And the cool thing about the customization
B. Button main menu. Left trigger axis. Barracks. Right trigger axis. Missions. SightlessKombat. View button. Settings.
is that it's all narrated as well. So we're on the home screen now, so we're going to press right trigger.
Missions. Act 1 Chapter 2. Story mission. Left behind. Optional objective. Complete the mission without a gear being downed or killed. Rewards. Mods. X3. Rewards. Armor. X1. Modifier. No modifiers. Item 1 of 1. It's going to take an army to kill Akon, but Prescott refuses to send support. Head to the nearest forward operating base and recruit more gears. Squad requirements. Gabe Diaz. Required. Sid Redburn. Required. Left trigger axis. Home. Right trigger axis. Barracks. SightlessKombat. View button. Settings.
So it tells me a massive amount on this screen. It tells me how many missions I have available. It tells me the blurb for those missions, any optional objectives, which is really good, any squad requirements or restrictions, also very, very useful. And yeah, so now we're going to go. We'll come back to this screen shortly once we've shown off a couple of other things. So we're going to press right trigger.
Heroes, level 1 support. Gabe Diaz, item 1 of 2, LVL 1, 50 XP to LVL 2.
So we have Gabe Diaz, who is Kate Diaz's father,
40% damage,
the
230
main protagonist of
crit
Gears
chance,
of War,
20%
of
crit
Gears
damage,
5, of course,
100% ammo, 4 evasion, 20%. A, button
being
edit unit, left
Kate
trigger axis,
Diaz.
missions, right trigger axis, home, SightlessKombat, view button, settings.
So it's giving me a load of stats.
Level 2 Vanguard, Sid Redburn, item 2 of 2, LVL 2, 1300 XP to LVL 3, 3 passive skills, career stats, health, 560, accuracy bonus, plus 40%, damage, 250, crit chance, 25%, crit damage, plus 100%, ammo, 5, evasion, 0%. A, button edit unit, left trigger axis, missions, right trigger axis.
So there's a
home,
lot to
SightlessKombat,
take in
view button,
here.
Career stats. A, button select, left trigger axis, missions.
And if
right
I
trigger
select
axis,
career
home,
stats for
SightlessKombat, view
Sid
button,
here,
settings. Sid Redburn, the lifetime record, missions completed, 1, kills, 19, executions, 2, ally revives, 0, times down, 0, most kills in 1 turn, 4. Back, item 1 of 1. B,
and that
button,
4, as far as I remember, was with a frag grenade on this save.
Heroes, X, button recruit troops.
Let's see what
Heroes, level 1 career stats.
Gabe's
A,
record's
button
like.
select, left, Gabe Diaz, the lifetime record, missions completed, 1, kills, 10, executions, 4, ally revives, 0, times down, 0, most kills in 1 turn, 2. Back, item 1 of 1.
Still
B,
pretty
button,
good, I'd say.
Barracks.
But that's not the end of
Career
it.
stats. A, heroes,
Let's
level 1
go
support.
into
Item 1 of 2,
Gabe's
skill, barracks.
setup.
Skills, skill tree, 0, item 1 of 8.
We don't have any
Back,
skill
A,
points.
Barracks. Command, passive skill, when this unit kills an enemy, heal each ally for 4% of their maximum health. B, button back, left trigger axis, missions, right trigger axis, home, 0, SightlessKombat, view button, settings, empower, LV1, active skill, 1, cooldown, 3, target ally gains 1 action. B, button back, left trigger
And I'm
axis,
just moving left and right with all of
B
these,
point,
and
passive
up
skill,
and down
when
as
this
well.
unit's command is triggered, each ally gets plus 5% critical hit chance this high powered shot, LV1, active skill, 1, cooldown, 5, shoot with a plus 50% damage bonus. Distracting fire, passive skill, the first shot by this unit at a target reduces the target's evasion by 10% for this turn. High powered shot, LV2, active high powered shot, LV3, active skill, 1,
Yeah, there are
cooldown,
so
5,
many
search,
skills.
Command, passive skill, when this unit killed, diagnosis, weapon passive, barracks. Skills,
And you
skill tree,
earn
0, item
points
1 of 8.
by...
B, button back,
Oh,
left
hang on,
trigger
let me see if I can
axis,
share that
barracks.
off again. Where's that skill?
Hone in.
That's...
Search, active, command, diagnosis, weapon passive skill. This unit's healing skills get plus 10%, item 2 of 2. B, button back, left
So it
trigger
says
axis,
weapon
missions,
passive
active,
skill,
home, zip, B, barracks.
and
Skills, skill tree,
that
0, item
comes
1 of 8.
from
Weapons, primary, item 2 of 8. Barracks.
the primary
Modifications,
weapon.
Stocks, item 1 of 7. Barracks. Available, common, sleek stock, plus 5% crit chance, equipped, item 1 of 3, damage, 230, default, factory model. base
And
stats,
it's
barracks.
under
Night sights,
the...
item 3 of 7, barracks.
There we go.
Available, common, diagnostic scope, passive skill, diagnosis, equipped, item 1 of 3, damage, 230, accuracy bonus. plus
So these are all the
40%,
parts for your
barracks.
weapons you can customize.
Vanguard, Sid, modifications,
So,
magazines, modifications, stocks,
We can
item 1 of 7.
customize the stock,
Magazines, item
the
2 of 7,
magazine,
sights, item 3,
the
magazines,
sight,
barrels, item
and
4
the
of 7,
barrel.
magazines, item 2 of 7,
And
barrels, cosmetics, colors,
then
item
we can
5
do
of 7,
colors,
B, ash, barracks, beige, ash grey, item beige, blue, item bright red,
which
dark blue,
all
beige, ash grey,
read.
item 1 of 29, barracks, metals, item 6 of 7, barracks.
We can do the
Battered alloy,
metals.
item 1, battered alloy, battered ceramic, battered chrome, battered gunmetal, battered steel, car paint, items, chrome, item, composite metal, default metal, equipped. Item
They all
1 of
have
15,
default
barracks. Metals,
colors
item
as
6 of
well,
7,
which is good, so you can
button back,
reset
left
it.
trigger, patterns, item 7 of 7,
Patterns
no
as well.
barracks. No pattern, equipped, amoeba, item brushed, item camouflage, item diamond plate, item 5 of 6.
And even though these don't actually describe how they change or where they change
Patterns, item 7 of 7.
necessarily, it's good to have that ability to customize everything.
View button, barracks.
And all of the equipping of mods and everything is actually doable as well, as you can expect from all of this. You can change your secondary, change the grenades.
Modifications, type, item 1 of 1, 2, Vanguard, Sid, of it, modifications, type, item 1 of 1, of it, barracks. Default, available, default, frag grenade, item 1 of 3, damage, 0 to 600, healing, 100 to 0, radius, 300. B, but default, stim grenade, equipped, item 2 of 3, damage, 0, healing, 100, radius, 300. B, button back, left, B, barracks.
So it gives you the options and everything
Item 1 of 1,
that
2,
you need.
Vanguard, Sid, available, item 2 of
And
heroes, 1,
let
support,
me
modifications,
go
type, item 1 of 1, 2, Vanguard, Sid, available, heroes, 1, support, Gabe, available,
Back into
modifications, type, item 1 of 1.
Gabe
Button back,
and
left trigger axis, missions, right trigger
show
axis, barracks. Available, default, frag
the...
grenade, item 1 of 3, damage,
Where's it
barracks.
gone?
2, Vanguard, barracks. 2
This is
passive
where
skills,
the menus and UI can
button,
get a
left
little
trigger axis, missions,
complicated.
right trigger, grenades, item 2 passive skill, secondary, item
As
3,
in, I know where I need to be, but I
button back,
can't
left trigger
necessarily
axis,
get
weapons,
there.
armor, helmet, item 5 of 8.
There we go, so
Trigger
you
axis,
can
missions,
customize the
barracks.
helmet.
Model, item 1 of 6, of it, barracks. Item 2 of 2, health, 0, available, default, no helmet, base stats, equipped, item 1 of 2, health,
If I
0,
had any
0,
helmets
barracks.
here, I could show you that.
Show helmet on, item 2, cosmetics, main colors, item 3 of 6. B,
So you
button
can
back,
change
left
the
patterns, item 6 of 6.
colors and
Button
everything.
back, left trigger axis, cosmetic accent colors, metals, item 5 of 6. Barracks. Upper, appearance, undershirt, upper, item 6, armor, helmet,
let
upper,
me-
lower, upper, tap, barracks. Show accessories, type, model, item 1 of 6. Barracks. Default, available, rare, regulation armor, plus 10% evasion, equipped, item 1 of 4, health, 0, evasion, 10%, movement range, 0.
So these actually
0%.
increase your
Left trigger axis,
stats and
default,
everything.
rare, veteran armor, plus 30 health, item 4 of in use, rare, veteran armor, plus 30 health, 0/1, item 3 of 4, health, 0 to 30, evasion, 10% to 0%, movement range, 0, critical hit resistance, 0%. B, button back, B, barracks.
So you can see this game is really quite complex in the amount of stuff you can tweak.
Lower. Career stats. Grenades. Item 4
Where's
of 8. Lower.
the...
Item 7 of 8. Barracks. Cosmetic. Type. Model. Item 1 of 5.
There's
Barracks.
a...
Available. Rare. Regulation boots. Plus 10% evasion. Equipped. Item 1 of 4. Health. Default. Cadet shin guards. Item 2 of 4. Health. 0. Evasion. 10% to 0%. Movement range. 0. Critical hit resistance. 0%.
Yeah, this game is very much a literal numbers game in places. So let's leave that customization system alone.
Appearance. Undershirt. Item 8.
Actually, you can do the shirts as well.
Cadet shirt. ASFO shirt. Item 1 of 9. LVL. Cadet shirt. Item 2 of 9. LVL. 1. 50 XP to LVL 2. 2 pass Onyx. Regulation shirt. Item 4 of 9. LVL. 1. 50 XP to
Parts
LVL
of this seem to change the stats, other parts of it don't. So that's an interesting contrast. But let's go back to the missions and we will deploy. I am again not going to spoil the cutscenes for this.
Act 1 Chapter 2. Left behind. Optional objective. Complete the mission without a beer being down or killed. Modifiers. None.
And it will actually tell you if you've not got any mods equipped, or if you're not equipping some mods, it will tell you anyway and give you the option to cancel the deploy and then change all of that before you go. So we don't need to worry about that because I've already set this up. So we're going to press X and deploy, and then it will read what is essentially introductory text, though whether it actually...
There's a ghost town now,
There we go.
so our recruiting options are thin. Our best bet for gears is Echo 5, a mop-up unit stationed nearby. Let's pay him a visit.
So that's essentially what you would expect to read as the introduction to a mission. Now, whether that actually comes out as text on screen, I'm not 100% sure, but it's very useful nonetheless. So skip the cutscenes in the same way as before.
No one's left. Let's check out the ambush site.
So
See if
that
there's
small...
any sign of those gears.
That small noise you heard there indicated to me, at least, that there was something under my cursor. So I'm going to press A. I'm going to move forward slightly and press A, because we couldn't make a move then if I pressed A. It wouldn't activate. So I'm now going to push forward as much as I can, and the ambience changes around me as well, which is a really nice thing. And I'm going to press A to move.
Grubs are still here.
Action points.
Take them out. Should have
560.
left when you had the chance, assholes.
So you heard the narration talking underneath the dialogue. You can't reread any of that at the moment, which is a shame. But I'm going to try and move all of my people up to a sort of rough area.
Action
Yep.
points. X3. Health.
I'd like to
500.
get my people into cover, but I don't think that's going to necessarily happen.
Action
Scout
points.
on
X3.
standby.
Although I suppose that could be half cover.
Taking position.
There's cover.
Here comes the shit show.
And now the combat happens. So we have, I'd say, 2 drones maybe? Actually, maybe 3? Oh no, wait. It's hard to tell. That's what I'm trying to get across. Oh, wow.
Action points. X3. Health. 465.
Here we
Partial
go.
hit.
Okay, so lots of things happen there, most of which don't have enough sound cues to verify what they actually are.
Shoot. Fire at the
But
selected target. Action.
the good thing is, if I hit Y here,
Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action cost.
I get
Cooldown.
a
Cooldown.
shoot option,
Overwatch. Select an area to
Overwatch,
and shoot at any
which
target.
is a bit of a problem because I want to use an Overwatch
Action
cone,
cost. Overwatch. Select an area to overwatch and shoot at any target.
but it actually makes you use an area thing,
Remaining AP. Cooldown.
which
Cooldown.
doesn't tell you whether there's any enemies underneath it. So I'm not going to use that. What I'm instead going to do is show you the weapon bar.
Lancer. 4/4/4.
So Lancer,
Snub.
Snub,
4/4/4. Stim grenade. Unlimited. Snub. 4/4/4.
and those the 4 of 4
Lancer.
is the ammo.
Snub. Stim grenade. Unlimited.
Stim grenade unlimited,
Revive downed units.
and it actually describes what it does.
Stim grenade. Unlimited. Healing gas that will also revive downed units. Snub. Stim
So
grenade.
that's useful.
Health.
Let me
500.
just move away from the fire that's making a lot of noise.
Shoot.
So let's just show changing guns.
Lancer. Snub. 4/4/4. Standard issue set. Lancer.
Why
Stim
did that
grenade.
not?
Lancer.
There we go. So Lancer,
Lancer. Snub.
the snub,
Lance. Snub.
and even the stim grenade.
Lance. Snub.
Let's change back to the Lancer.
Shoot. Fire at the
See if we
selected
can get
target.
a
Action
shot.
cost. Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action cost. 1 AP. Cooldown. Cooldown. None. A. Button confirm. B. Button cancel. Health. 350. Hit chance. 68%. 60% crit chance.
Ooh,
30 DMG 460.
we have a good chance there.
Health. 350.
Let's
hit
switch
chance.
targets.
45%. 20% crit chance.
45, 20.
Health.
And I'm using RB and LB to switch.
20%
So it's
crit chance. Health.
27%.
350. Health 350. Target obstructed. Hit chance 10%.
That one's
20% crit
obstructed.
chance. Health 350. Hit chance 68%. 60% crit chance.
Right, so let's take this shot with the right trigger.
Health 500.
Oh, I think that one's down. It's not entirely clear, but I think so.
Lancer. Skill
I
grenade.
wonder if I can...
Shoot. Execution. Finish a down enemy. Action cost. Execution. Finish a down
Maybe.
enemy. Action cost. Movement. Action
here.
points. X3. Health
Oh,
550.
that's not what I
Action
wanted.
points. X2. Health 400. Shoot. Fire
So if you press RB and LB, you'll switch characters, and you'll hear they mostly give a voice line,
Overwatch.
which is
Selected.
good.
Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action. Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action cost. 1 AP. Cooldown. Cooldown. 9. A. Button confirm. B. Button cancel. Health 350. Hit chance 45%. 20%. Health 65. Hit chance 68%. 20% crit chance.
I would go for the execution, but I can't because of the simple fact that when you do...
Skill grenade. Snuff. 4.
Let's see if I can show you.
Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Execute. Chainsaw. Execution. Finish it down. Execution. Finish it down enemy.
You have a move prompt, and the same with
Chainsaw. Move
the
chainsaw.
chainsaw.
Lancer's chainsaw. Action cost. Movement. Cooldown. Cooldown.
So unfortunately, you can't actually do this without sight, which is a real shame.
Shoot. Fire at the selected
But let's
target.
just
Shoot. Fire at the
take
selected
this enemy out.
target. Health 65. Hit chance.
There we go. One down.
Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action. Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action cost. 1 AP. Cooldown. Cooldown. None. A. Button confirm. B. Button cancel. Health 350. Hit chance 45%.
This is a 45% chance. Let's see
Lancer. Snub.
if the snub gives us a better
Fire at the selected
shot.
target. Shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action cost. 1 AP. Cooldown. Cooldown. None. A. Button confirm. B. Button cancel. Health 350. Hit chance 50%. 10% crit chance.
That's a 50 and a 10. Let's go for that.
Action
Okay.
points. X3. Health 500.
We got the shot, so that's good. And now we switch characters.
Fire at the shoot. Fire at the selected target. Action cost. 1 AP. Cooldown. Cooldown. None. A. Button confirm. B. Button cancel. Health 487. Health 350. Target obstructed. Hit chance 10%. 25% crit chance.
Target
250
obstructed.
500 health.
It doesn't
350
indicate what
health.
by though, which is a
350
shame.
obstructed. Hit chance 10 health. 350 hit chance 10%. 25% crit chance.
I have a 10% chance to hit. Let's see if we can hit this.
Friendly here.
Shoot.
Okay.
The selected target. Action cost.
That's slightly annoying. I think we just hit one of our own.
Button confirm. B. Button cancel.
Let's move. See if we can.
Health 350.
This might be a bad idea. We can try.
Comm struck ahead.
Okay.
We wanna find the rest of Echo 5.
So that noise
That's where we
indicates
start
that I've been hit by an Overwatch cone.
Shoot.
Or rather, I've gone into the Overwatch cone.
Target. Action cost. 1 AP. Health 298 hit chance 10%. 25% crit chance 300 DMG 600 DMG.
See if we can...
Shoot. Fire at the
Oh,
selected
we
target.
connected. And it's
Shoot. Fire at the selected target.
it's
Action cost.
dived into cover. That's
Cooldown.
frustrating.
None.
Let's try and...
Frag grenade.
I'll show you how
Throw grenade. Throw
well
grenade.
or not a frag grenade works. So it's a selected area thing.
Health. Health.
But-
190.
Interestingly, you get little prompts that indicate
150.
sort of 350, 490, etc. I know that's an enemy, so I'm going to risk this and try and throw.
Fire in the hole!
Action points. X3. Health.
Now, I'm not sure whether I actually got any kills at all. I don't think I did. But essentially that illustrates, the lack of information.
There is no
Let's
valid target.
see...
Shoot. Fire at the selected
Oh,
target. There is no valid target. Shoot. Fire at the selected target.
so there is no valid target. So we need to push in. So let's
Nasher.
show one of the
There is no
this
valid target.
class's
Shoot. Fire at the
abilities.
Overwatch. Full ammo dot. Cloak. This unit gets the hidden status effect until your next turn. Units with hidden are invisible to enemies. Hidden is removed by skills and interactions.
So let's do that.
Overwatch. Cloak. This unit gets the hidden status effect until your next turn.
And then let's move.
Wilco,
See if it allows me to...
I'm ready for him.
Oh, okay. It's their turn now. So... one of my gears is clearly out in the open. So now they've got an Overwatch cone back up.
Go time. Hit him hard.
And I think we'll leave it there. That's a rough demonstration that the combat could be made to work, but it currently doesn't, which is a real shame. Or at least not completely. But the movement is the key element where accessibility improvements would need to be made. I really look forward to seeing where this game goes in the future, particularly when it hits consoles later this year, where by that point, a lot of things could have been tweaked and improved and refined to make it a potentially fully playable experience as a gamer without sight. I hope this video has been interesting, And if you want to know more, please feel free to ask questions and I will answer what I can. I've been SightlessKombat. Thank you very much for watching this demo of Gears Tactics. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe.